They tell you estrogen is dangerous after menopause, that hormone therapy will harm you, and you should just accept the sleepless nights, the mood swings, and feeling like a stranger in your own body. But what if everything you've been told is keeping you from reclaiming the vibrant, energetic woman you still are inside? I'm Dr. Claire Winslow, and after 30 years of helping women navigate this journey, I've witnessed the heartbreaking consequences when crucial information is withheld. I've seen brilliant, accomplished women reduced to shadows of themselves, told their symptoms are just part of aging when the real story is far more complex and hopeful. There's a patient I'll never forget, Margaret, a 58-year-old teacher, who came to me desperate and defeated. What happened next changed everything she thought she knew about her body and her future. But before I share Margaret's remarkable transformation, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell, because what you're about to discover could change your life forever. Margaret walked into my office on a Tuesday morning, her shoulders hunched forward as if she was carrying the weight of the world. She'd been to 3 different doctors in the past year, each one dismissing her concerns with the same tired response: "It's just menopause. You'll have to learn to live with it." But Margaret wasn't living, she was merely surviving. The woman, who had once commanded a classroom full of teenagers with confidence and grace, now found herself crying in her car before work, overwhelmed by anxiety she couldn't explain. Her marriage of 35 years was suffering because she felt disconnected from her own body, her own desires, her own sense of self. "Dr. Winslow," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, "I don't feel like myself anymore. I wake up drenched in sweat at 3 in the morning, and then I can't fall back asleep. My brain feels foggy all day. I snap at my husband for no reason, and then I feel guilty about it. I used to love gardening, cooking, being intimate with my husband. Now everything feels like it requires more energy than I have." As I listened to Margaret, my heart ached for her hand for the millions of women who've been given the same inadequate answers. You see, there's something most doctors won't tell you about estrogen after menopause. Something that could transform how you understand your body and your options for healing. The truth is, estrogen isn't just about reproduction. It's about so much more than your monthly cycle or your ability to have children. Estrogen is your body's master conductor, orchestrating a symphony of functions that keep you feeling vibrant, mentally sharp, and emotionally balanced. When estrogen levels plummet during menopause, it's not just your ovaries that suffer, it's your brain, your heart, your bones, your skin, your sleep, your mood, and yes, your capacity for intimacy and joy. But here's what they don't want you to know: you don't have to accept this decline as inevitable. Your body is remarkably resilient, and there are ways to support your natural hormone production and help your system find balance again. Margaret's story didn't end with resignation. In fact, it was just the beginning of her remarkable transformation. But to understand how she reclaimed her vitality, we need to look at what really happens in your body when estrogen begins to decline, and why the conventional approach often falls short of giving you the support you deserve. Think of estrogen as your body's internal gardener. Just as a skilled gardener tends to every corner of a beautiful garden, watering the roses, pruning the hedges, nurturing the soil, estrogen tends to nearly every system in your body with remarkable precision and care. When you were younger, estrogen flowed through your bloodstream like a gentle river, nourishing your brain cells to keep your thinking clear and your memory sharp. It supported the delicate blood vessels in your heart, keeping them flexible and strong. It whispered to your bones, encouraging them to stay dense and resilient. It even worked with your skin, maintaining that supple texture and natural glow that made you feel confident and radiant. But estrogen's most profound role might surprise you. It's your body's natural mood stabilizer, working in harmony with neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine to keep you feeling emotionally balanced and capable of joy. This is why so many women experience anxiety, depression, or that overwhelming sense of not feeling like myself during menopause. It's not weakness, it's biology. Let me share another patient's experience. Sarah, a 52-year-old attorney, came to me because she was having panic attacks for the first time in her life. "Dr. Winslow," she said, "I've argued cases in front of judges for 20 years. I've never been afraid of anything. But now I wake up with my heart racing, terrified for no reason I can name." Sarah's panic wasn't psychological, it was physiological. When estrogen levels drop rapidly, it can trigger your nervous system into a state of heightened alert, like having a smoke alarm that goes off even when there's no fire. Your body is trying to adapt to a completely new hormonal landscape, and sometimes it overreacts in the process. Here's what most doctors won't explain. There are actually 3 different types of estrogen in your body. Estradiol is the strongest and most active during your reproductive years. Estrone becomes more dominant after menopause, and estriol, the gentlest form, plays a protective role throughout your life. Understanding these distinctions matters because your body continues to produce estrogen even after menopause, just in different amounts and from different sources. Your adrenal glands, your fat tissues, and even your brain can produce estrogen. This means your body has backup systems designed to help you navigate this transition. The key is supporting these systems naturally, rather than simply accepting that you're destined to feel depleted. But supporting your body's natural estrogen production isn't just about taking supplements or following the latest trend. It's about understanding the intricate dance between your hormones, your lifestyle, your stress levels, your sleep patterns, and yes, even your relationships and sense of purpose. This is where Margaret's transformation began, not with a prescription or a quick fix, but with a deeper understanding of how to work with her body's natural wisdom instead of against it. When Margaret first came to see me, she was overwhelmed by all the conflicting information about hormone replacement therapy. One doctor had scared her with talk of blood clots and cancer risks. Another had dismissed her symptoms entirely. She felt trapped between fear and suffering, unsure of which path to take. What if there was another way? I asked her. What if your body already knows how to heal, and we just need to give it the right support? That's when I introduced Margaret to something remarkable: phytoestrogens. These are plant compounds that can gently mimic estrogen's effects in your body without the risks associated with synthetic hormones. Think of them as nature's gentle whisper rather than a pharmaceutical shout. One of the most powerful sources of phytoestrogens is something you might already have in your kitchen: flax seeds. These tiny golden gems contain lignans, compounds that can help balance your hormones naturally. Margaret started adding just 2 tablespoons of freshly ground flaxseed to her morning smoothie. Within 3 weeks, she noticed her hot flashes becoming less intense and less frequent. But flax seeds were just the beginning. I also introduced Margaret to red clover, a beautiful flowering plant that contains 4 different types of isophos compounds that can support healthy estrogen function. Unlike soy, which some women find difficult to digest, red clover tends to be gentler on the system while still providing meaningful support. Then, there's something truly special: wild yam root. This isn't the sweet potato you might find at your grocery store, but a specific plant whose root contains compounds that can support your body's natural hormone production. Native American women have used wild yam for centuries to support women's health, and modern research is beginning to understand why this traditional wisdom was so effective. But here's what I've learned in my 30 years of practice. It's not just about the plants you take, it's about how you live. Margaret's transformation accelerated when we addressed her sleep patterns. You see, estrogen and sleep have an intimate relationship. Estrogen helps regulate your body's production of melatonin, your natural sleep hormone. When estrogen drops, sleep often becomes fragmented and restless. We created what I call a hormone-friendly bedtime ritual for Margaret. She began turning off screens an hour before bed, sipping chamomile tea sweetened with a touch of raw honey, and spending 10 minutes in gentle stretching or meditation. These simple changes helped her body remember how to produce its own calming hormones. The results were profound. Within 2 months, Margaret was sleeping through the night more consistently. Her energy began returning, and with it, her joy. She started tending to her garden again, planning weekend trips with her husband, and even signed up for a watercolor class she'd been dreaming about for years. But perhaps the most significant change was in her relationship with herself. "I feel like I'm coming back to life," she told me during one of our follow-up appointments. "I didn't realize how much I'd been dimming my own light." This brings me to another crucial point that doctors rarely discuss: the connection between hormones and your sense of purpose, your creativity, your zest for life. When estrogen declines, it's not uncommon to feel disconnected from the things that once brought you joy. But this isn't permanent, and it's not something you have to accept as your new normal. Let me tell you about Nina, a vibrant 61-year-old artist who came to me feeling like her creative spark had been extinguished. "Dr. Winslow," she said, "I used to paint for hours, lose myself in colors and textures. Now I sit in front of my easel and feel nothing. It's like the well of inspiration has run dry. Elena's story illustrates something profound about estrogen that goes beyond physical symptoms. This remarkable hormone doesn't just affect your body, influences your relationship with beauty, creativity, and passion. When estrogen levels shift dramatically, many women experience what I call creative menopause, a temporary disconnection from the activities and interests that once defined them. But here's the beautiful truth. This disconnection isn't permanent. It's your body asking you to slow down, to nurture yourself more deeply, and to rediscover what truly feeds your soul. Elena's journey back to her creative self began not with medication, but with understanding how stress was sabotaging her body's natural hormone production. You see, when you're constantly stressed, your body produces excessive amounts of cortisol, your primary stress hormone. Cortisol and estrogen have what I call a competitive relationship. When cortisol levels remain elevated, it can interfere with your body's ability to produce and utilize estrogen effectively. It's like trying to have a quiet conversation in a room where someone is constantly shouting. Elena was caring for her aging mother while managing her art business and dealing with financial pressures. Her cortisol levels were chronically elevated, creating a cascade of hormonal imbalance that was affecting everything from her sleep to her creativity to her sense of well-being. We began with something simple but profound breathwork. Every morning, Elena started spending just 10 minutes practicing what I call hormone balancing breath. She would inhale slowly for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, and exhale for 6 counts. This simple practice helps activate your parasympathetic nervous system, your body's rest and repair mode, which creates the optimal environment for healthy hormone production. But breathing was just the foundation. We also addressed Elena's relationship with movement. Many women think they need to exercise intensely to stay healthy after menopause, but excessive high-intensity exercise can actually increase cortisol levels and further disrupt hormonal balance. Instead, Elena embraced what I called joyful movement, long walks in nature, gentle yoga, dancing to her favorite music in her living room. The transformation in Elena's energy was remarkable, but even more significant was what happened to her creativity. As her hormones began to find balance, she found herself drawn back to her easel. But her art had evolved. It was deeper, more soulful, infused with a wisdom that could only come from navigating life's transitions with grace. This brings me to something crucial that most doctors never discuss: the role of pleasure in hormonal health. I'm not just talking about physical intimacy, though that's certainly important. I'm talking about your capacity to experience joy, beauty, sensuality, and delight in everyday moments. Estrogen is intimately connected to your ability to feel pleasure. When levels drop, many women report feeling numb or disconnected from experiences that once brought them happiness. A sunset that used to take your breath away might leave you feeling nothing. A piece of music that once moved you to tears might sound flat and uninteresting. But you can reawaken this capacity for pleasure through intentional practices. Elena started what she called her daily beauty hunt. Each day, she would find 3 things that struck her as beautiful and spend a moment really appreciating them. It might be the way morning light filtered through her kitchen window, the texture of a flower petal, or the sound of rain on her roof. This practice might sound simple, even trivial, but it was actually rewiring Elena's brain to notice and appreciate beauty again. When you consciously cultivate appreciation for beauty and pleasure, you're supporting your body's natural production of feel-good hormones like dopamine and serotonin, which work synergistically with estrogen to enhance your overall sense of well-being. After 6 months of these gentle but consistent practices, Elena told me something that brought tears to my eyes. I feel like I've fallen in love with life again. Not just my art, but everything: cooking dinner, walking my dog, even grocery shopping feels different now. I feel awake again. Perhaps the most delicate conversation I have with my patients involves intimacy, not just physical intimacy, but the broader sense of connection with partners, friends, and even with themselves. When estrogen levels decline, many women experience what feels like a fundamental shift in their capacity for closeness and desire. I remember Linda, a 59-year-old woman who had been married for 37 years. She came to me with tears in her eyes, explaining how she felt like she was losing her marriage along with her hormones. "Dr. Winslow," she whispered, "I love my husband deeply, but I feel like my body has betrayed us both. I don't feel desire the way I used to, and when we try to be intimate, it's uncomfortable, sometimes painful. I'm afraid he thinks I don't love him anymore." Linda's experience is heartbreakingly common, yet it's rarely discussed openly. When estrogen levels drop, the tissues in your vaginal area can become thinner and less elastic, leading to dryness and discomfort during intimacy. But more than the physical changes, many women describe feeling disconnected from their own sensuality, as if that part of themselves has simply vanished. But here's what I want you to understand. This disconnection isn't permanent, and it doesn't mean your capacity for intimacy and pleasure is gone forever. Your body is incredibly adaptable, and there are gentle, natural ways to rekindle not just physical comfort, but emotional and spiritual connection as well. For Linda, we started with addressing the physical aspects. I introduced her to natural moisturizers, made with ingredients like coconut oil and vitamin E, which can help restore moisture and suppleness to delicate tissues. We also talked about the importance of regular, gentle self-massage with these nourishing oils, not just for physical comfort, but as a way of reconnecting with her own body, with kindness rather than frustration. But the breakthrough in Linda's healing came when we addressed something deeper: her relationship with her changing body. Like so many women, Linda had been viewing her menopausal changes as failures, as signs that she was becoming less valuable, less desirable, less worthy of love and pleasure. We worked together to reframe this narrative. Menopause isn't an ending, it's a graduation. You're graduating from the phase of life focused on fertility and caregiving to a phase focused on wisdom, authenticity, and deeper forms of connection. Your body isn't failing you, it's transforming into something new, something that deserves just as much love and appreciation as your younger self. This shift in perspective was transformative for Linda's relationship with her husband. Instead of avoiding conversations about their changing intimacy, they began talking openly about what felt good, what didn't, and how they could rediscover pleasure together. They started scheduling time for non-sexual touch massage, cuddling, simply holding hands while watching movies. This removed the pressure to perform and allowed them to rebuild their physical connection gradually and naturally. Linda also began incorporating foods that support healthy circulation and hormone balance into their shared meals. Dark chocolate, rich in compounds that support blood flow and mood. Pomegranates, packed with antioxidants that support overall vitality. Watermelon, which contains an amino acid that can help improve circulation. These weren't magic bullets, but they were delicious ways to support her body's natural healing process. But perhaps most importantly, Linda began to understand that intimacy after menopause doesn't have to look the same as it did in your 20s or 30s. It can be deeper, more connected, more focused on emotional and spiritual union rather than just physical performance. Many couples find that their intimate life becomes more satisfying after menopause because it becomes less focused on reproduction and more focused on pure connection and pleasure. One of the most beautiful things Linda shared with me months later was this: I feel like my husband and I have discovered a new language of love. We're more patient with each other, more tender, more present. In some ways, our intimacy is richer now than it ever was when we were younger. This transformation wasn't just about addressing physical symptoms, it was about helping Linda reconnect with her inherent worthiness of love, pleasure, and deep connection. When you truly understand that your value as a woman doesn't diminish with age, that you deserve tenderness and passion at every stage of life, it changes everything about how you move through the world. As I reflect on the hundreds of women I've had the privilege to support through this transition, I'm struck by a common thread that runs through every transformation story. It's not really about the supplements they took or the lifestyle changes they made, though those were certainly important. The real transformation happened when they stopped seeing themselves as broken and started seeing themselves as evolving. Margaret, the teacher who came to me feeling defeated, now leads workshops for other women going through menopause. She tells them, what I'm telling you now, you are not a problem to be solved. You are a woman in transition, moving from one beautiful phase of life to another, and you deserve support, understanding, and hope throughout this journey. Sarah, the attorney who was having panic attacks, discovered that her anxiety was actually her intuition trying to get her attention. As her hormones balanced, she realized she needed to make changes in her high-stress career. She now practices family law part-time and spends the rest of her time teaching meditation to other professional women. She tells me she's never been happier. Alina, the artist who thought her creative well had run dry, recently had her first gallery showing in 10 years. Her new work is being described as luminous and deeply soulful. She says menopause didn't take away her artistry and deepened it. Linda, who feared she was losing her marriage along with her hormones, recently celebrated her 40th wedding anniversary. She and her husband took a second honeymoon to Italy, where they said they felt like teenagers again, not because they were trying to recapture their youth, but because they had discovered new depths of love and connection. These women didn't just survive menopause, they used it as a doorway to becoming more fully themselves than they had ever been before. And you can too. Here's what I want you to remember. Your body is not your enemy. The changes you're experiencing aren't punishments or failures, they're invitations. Invitations to slow down and listen more deeply to what you need. Invitations to prioritize your own well-being with the same dedication you've always given to caring for others. Invitations to discover who you are when you're no longer defined by your ability to reproduce or your role as a caregiver. The truth about estrogen after menopause is this: while your ovaries may produce less of this vital hormone, your capacity for health, joy, intimacy, and vitality doesn't have to diminish. Your body has backup systems, and there are gentle, natural ways to support them. More importantly, this transition offers you something precious: the opportunity to redefine what it means to be a healthy, vibrant, sensual woman on your own terms. You've spent decades taking care of everyone else. You've poured your energy into your children, your spouse, your career, your community. Now it's time to pour that same loving care into yourself, not because you're broken or lacking, but because you're entering a phase of life that deserves to be lived with intention, joy, and deep self-compassion. Start small. Maybe it's adding ground flaxseed to your morning smoothie. Maybe it's taking 10 minutes each evening to practice deep breathing. Maybe it's scheduling that massage you've been putting off for months. Maybe it's having an honest conversation with your partner about what you need to feel supported and loved. Whatever you choose, choose it with the knowledge that you deserve to feel vibrant and alive at every age. You deserve to wake up excited about your day. You deserve to feel comfortable in your own skin. You deserve love, pleasure, and deep connection. You deserve to approach this transition not with fear, but with curiosity about the woman you're becoming. Remember Margaret's words: "I feel like I'm coming back to life." That's not just possible for her, it's possible for you too. Because the truth is, you're not disappearing as you age. You're not becoming less valuable, less beautiful, or less worthy of care and attention. You're simply becoming more authentically yourself, freed from many of the external expectations and pressures that may have constrained you in earlier decades. This is your time. This is your invitation to step fully into your power, your wisdom, and your inherent worth. The woman you're becoming on the other side of this transition may surprise you with her strength, her clarity, and her capacity for joy. If this message has resonated with you, if you've found hope in these stories and practical wisdom in these suggestions, please let me know by leaving a comment with the number 1. If you feel this information could help someone else you care about, please share this video with them, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell, because I'm committed to continuing this conversation and supporting you through every step of this beautiful, challenging, transformative journey. You are not alone. You are not broken. You are simply becoming, and that becoming is worth celebrating.